Hey everyone, I'm Gregory. This is 1 in 20 D&D. Welcome to another D&D Daily. And this is number 21, I guess. So that's kind of cool. And I'm legal age now, I guess. I can drink. Silliness. Actually, that is something I'm going to talk about in a little bit here on you know what? Let me just get into it right now. Here's something that's been on my mind about D&D and characters in D&D and how to avoid a cliche character. Because so many times I've seen characters that are drunks. Like, that's your big character flaw. They drink. Man, is that boring. So, and it's the funny thing about it is it's even out there in like the public view, let's say, in the greater community of D&D. We have on Critical Role Not the Brave, who is a fantastic character played by a fantastic actor, Sam Riegel, and Not is essentially an alcoholic. Now, the thing about it is, absolutely nothing about how Sam uses alcohol for the character and alcoholism for the character is cliche. He doesn't make a big deal about it. He doesn't play as a sloshing, slurring, constantly drunk kind of fool. It's just sort of, it's real subtle. It's real subtle in how Sam plays it. Now, let me contrast that with the exact opposite in what I've seen people do. I've seen some people play a drunk, and it's this slurring, sloshing, constantly drunk. Everything about their character is about drinking, drinking, drinking. And man, talk about a one-trick pony. It can be so very boring. I love Dice Camera Action. I think Paulton is a fantastic character, played wonderfully by Nate. Nate Wants to Battle. And Paulton is a drunk. And drinking has been a big part of that character throughout the game. And I was worried at the beginning because it seemed like for a long time that was essentially the shtick. Which is, again, boring. And a lot of people, I mean, way in the beginning of their, they're up to like session 120 something, almost 130. So, way in the beginning, the first 20, 30, 40, 50 episodes or more, a lot of people were bagging on Nate because he was boring, he was uninteresting, he didn't really know D&D and this and that and the other thing. And I have to say that I gave him a lot of credit, and I'm not trying to pat my own back, I'm just saying this is how I approached it. I decided to be patient and see where it would lead because I really enjoyed the storytelling that Chris Perkins, the DM, was doing. I really enjoyed the other characters. I thought it was dynamic and interesting the way it was playing out. Now fast forward, drinking is still a big part of who that character is. Being a drunk, being basically a wino, it's finally starting to come out about like why he's that way, which is kind of cool. And I'm a little behind. I'm several sessions, I'm like a dozen sessions behind or something on that. So there may even be more coming out. But it became an interesting part of the story. And it's not his only thing. He's also about like manipulating people and to some degree being a flower on the wall. And he's done it in a way that can be entertaining. It's a razor's edge though, people. It is a razor's edge. Being interesting as a drunk in the game and being annoying and irritating and boring, it is a fine line. So if you're thinking about being a drunk, that's your big character flaw in your D&D game and for your D&D character, put a lot of thought into it. And really watch making it cliche. And that goes for pretty much everything. You know, being the gruff dwarf, the taciturn, always grumpy, the grumpy dwarf. You better have a really good why. And you better have a really good way to play it out. Because here's the problem with characters. And this is whether you're an actor or whether you're just talking about role-playing in a role-playing game. If you're flat, meaning if you only have like one mode, that makes for a boring character. What makes for an interesting character is having like dynamics. So for myself, as an example, if I was going to choose to play a drunk, here's how I would approach playing a drunk. I would play a drunk who was, at some times, crystal clear, logical, effective, like, on point. But then, if he happened to find himself in a tavern, he would get ripping drunk and be completely useless. He would be obnoxious, he would be offensive, he would pick fights. So you would, and then when he was sober, again, he would be apologetic and humble and placating and again, crystal clear, effective, but giving it these two extremes of like the perfect citizen versus the town drunk. In the same person. Because if you're just the town drunk, or you're just the perfect shiny paladin, those are boring. And nobody likes it. It's very uninteresting, whether you're a DM or whether you're one of the other players. That's how you make a boring character. I think I'm going to title this session, this video, How to Make a Cliche and Boring Character. If that's what you want, I guess, go for it. Make a one-sided, very monosyllabic, very, like, that's their thing. It's just like making a bumbling magic user who fumbles and bumbles and like is constantly tripping and causing I can't do anything right. It's boring. It's cliche. You have to have. If that's so, let's use that example for a moment. How do we make that unboring and uncliche? Here's how you do it. It's you are bumbling and fumbling in normal circumstances. When you're talking with your party members, when you're talking with an NPC, you're this bumbling, fumbling fool. But as soon as shit goes down and you start casting spells, it's like a totally different person. Now, their spells are perfect, precise, they make sense, they're effective, they're doing the right thing at the right time in combat, they're buffing their companions, they're controlling the minions, they're doing damage to the boss, whatever makes sense in the moment, they're on it. Like the knight in shining armor when they're casting spells. As soon as spell casting stops, then maybe they go back to like, well, now what should we do? I'm kind of lost now. What do I do next? That's just one way to approach it. I mean, and that's not even a very good way to approach it. I think the bumbling magic user is super trope, super played out, very dull. These are just my opinions. But if you want to make a boring, simple character, find a cliche and go with the cliche. That's how you make a boring character. The way not to do that is to completely go the opposite direction. That's the simple way to do it. Just go the opposite direction. Pick the cliche, pick the trope, and then do the opposite. So take a drunk who is now stone cold sober, and if he sees anyone drinking, he berates them and lectures them and gives them hell for even having a sip of alcohol. Like a teetotaler, someone who is like an Alcoholics Anonymous, like all they talk about is sobriety now. And for God forbid you should drink or get drunk in front of them. That's how you play an interesting drunk. Not somebody who's constantly drinking, constantly can't speak right because I'm a drunk, and I'm gonna play a drunk because that's what I want. I'm drunk. Hey DM, I'm drunk. That's ridiculous, and it's boring, and it's played in cliche. Don't do that. Don't be a boring player. Don't be a boring character. Be interesting by finding the opposites, finding the paradoxes, find those interesting quirks that only come out once in a while, or that you slip in very subtly to make an interesting character. So subtlety is the key. Think about that. Thanks for stopping in. Sorry for my little rant on being boring and cliche, because I've seen it a lot and it sucks. And I want to help you avoid it. So there's my advice. Thanks for stopping in. I'm Gregory, 1 in 20 D&D. Check out the next video coming at you tomorrow. I'm making them daily. I'm having fun getting them out to you daily, and I hope you appreciate it. In the meantime, I'll see you at a table someday, and keep rolling 20s.